Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers, the live Facebook interactive show where you, the viewer, has total input on topics of discussion regarding any subject that includes commenting, talking, or debating. Not with just your host, but with each other. You, our spectacular viewers. You control and run this show. We are just the rudder that steers this big old vessel. This is the show that is wide open with no limits as we bring it to you first. We discuss news, politics, and business, sports, and other things pertinent to our community, to include Stark, Lake Butler, Keystone Heights, Waldo, Melrose, Brooker, Middleburg, Lake City, Lulu, and the entire regional area. We also talk about happenings in the great state of Florida and South Georgia as we talk about state news, politics, and sports, and also delve into news and current events going on in our great nation and the world today that affect yours and mine and our everyday lives. Now, let me introduce the show team, the guys that make it all happen, bringing the move to the groove. First, behind the controls with the video and audio is our senior producer, Mr. Command and Control, the big dog, our executive producer, Super Dave Daredevil Holland. Say hello, Dave.
Hello, everybody.
And joining him behind the scenes, keeping the flow to the show, is our director, Michael the Dragon Slayer Heaters. Hello, Michael. Up next, our advertising and marketing guru on special assignment tonight is John, better than Snopes Throats. Our sports production assistant and our special projects coordinator, Roger the Tornado Cruz. Say hello, Roger.
Oh, hello.
Our man with all things weather, also on special assignment tonight, checking out some weather things, Austin Storm Chaser Stevens. And now my co-host, to my left, here's our historian and governmental whiz on national and world politics, Byron, fighting to help keep your freedom and rights Bagwell.
Good evening, infidels.
Good grief. And to my right, with local news and breaking information, Mitchell, the American Scout, and your lookout on terrorism and anything else that does not belong or looks out of place, Gunter.
Good afternoon.
And I'm your host, Mr. David Rodgers, the voice of Bradford High Tornadoes and
The Show Pony.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming to you live from the Emergency Operations Center here at the Bradford County Sheriff's Office. And we want to thank our host, Sheriff Gordon Smith, and his great emergency management staff team for the hospitality. Just a reminder about our new format, Byron, to make sure you, the viewer, get your chance to interact. That's right, folks. We have the all-new ADO, Audience-Driven Overtime. That's right. Our new format gives everyone equal opportunity in each segment. But when we hit a topic near and dear to your heart and you want to address it, we go into ADO, Audience-Driven Overtime. So what? You get your say. But now it's time to kick off the show, as we always do, with our prayer, our Pledge of Allegiance, and the reading of Byron's great-great-grandfather, sometimes Benjamin Franklin, and sometimes your other grandfathers. That's exactly right. So if we can, please, let us go into prayer. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once think again for this beautiful Saturday, this beautiful day you've given us, dear Lord. We're alive again, dear Lord, and you let us be that way, dear Lord, as you let us wake up this morning to enjoy another wonderful day on this planet that we call Earth. Thank you for everything that you do for us, dear Lord. Thank you for just the many blessings and the things that we're able to do each and every day. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day, that it goes into the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you, and keep a hedge of protection over our U.S. military, dear Lord, the greatest fighting force in the world today, dear Lord. Thank you for the greatest country and the freest country in the world today, dear Lord, the country that we live in, our United States of America, as you just keep your blessings and keep pouring your blessings upon us and this great nation and our leaders, dear Lord. Keep touching them so they will be able to do the right things. Again, any spoken or unspoken prayer requests, dear Lord, you know what's ailing them, dear Lord. You know where their hearts are at. Please touch each and every one of those prayer requests, spoken or unspoken. Again, thank you for today. Thank you for the rest of this weekend. Thank you for the rest of the work week that we're about to get into. And thank you for my staff and my team, dear Lord, as we're able to bring this show to our audience each and every week. and that they take this information that we give them, dear Lord, and that they do what it is and desire what it is that they need to do with it, dear Lord. And we ask for these things in your precious Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. Now it's time for our pledge. If we can all stand, please, and face our flag. If you can see our flag, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bagwell, if you will please lead us in our pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. All right. Mr. Bagwell,
yes.
What do you have for us on one of our sayings today? I know that you have always a lot of great sayings on Facebook when you come and wake up each and every morning, as the good Lord allows you to do, because I tell you what, it could go away just like that.
Yes, sir.
But hey, we're thankful that he lets us wake up each and every day. What do you have for us as far as a special saying tonight?
Freedom is not granted to us by other men, but a right that belongs to us by the laws of God and nature.
Wow, that's pretty powerful right there, isn't it? Hey, every morning. That's you can find every that. Morning. If you don't know some of these sayings, all you got to do is friend Mr. Byron Bagwell. Hey, he'll accept you as a friend. You can go on there and you can see that beautiful flag that he puts up of our great country and a saying. Sometimes you change it up. Sometimes you do.
It's actually that saying.
It is that saying. But sometimes you do change it up. Yeah, you change it up here and there. But for the most part, it is that saying. So, again, thank you, Byron, for that. And we want to, again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome you into the show. Again, my name is Mr. Friday Night David Rodgers. Right to my left here is Mr. Byron Bagwell. To my right here is Mr. Blue Eyes himself, Mr. Mitchell Gunner. To my right over here is the man with the plan. That's Mr. Dave Holland. And my good friend back here to my left, making sure the show is running right, is our director, Mr. Michael Dragon Slayer Heater. How about that? Did he thought I said a nasty word for him? He thought I said the blank, didn't he?
He thought you said the wordy dirt.
The wordy dirt, yeah, but I wouldn't do that to Michael. There's no way. All right, here's your quick and dirty for this Saturday night, sponsored by Austin's Weather Service in Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook. Dirty, right? Send in your zip code and get a detailed local forecast just for you. We start at Camp Blanding, where 4 people taken to the hospital after a boating accident on Kingsley Lake this afternoon. Wow. 2 adults and 2 children were in water for nearly 45 minutes after their boat overturned on the east side of Kingsley Lake. Wow. All right, and everybody, we just got an update. Everybody's going to make a full recovery. So thank God that nobody seriously got injured there. I tell you what, that's always a great thing when nobody gets seriously injured. Also in Clay County, 1 person died this afternoon following a traffic crash at Blanding Boulevard and Peppergrass Street in Middleburg. The road is now reopened to traffic. Wow.
Bad.
That's a bad, yeah.
That's a bad
maybe Mr. Gunner can, maybe, he's not only local here, he's local around the region. Maybe that's something you can look into, Mitchell.
We can see. That intersection that they're talking about is almost at the intersection of 215, which is the cutoff between Blanding Boulevard or 21 and 16.
Yeah.
They get right out by Camp Blanding, and it's people try to scoot everywhere right there to get to 215 or scoot back out, and it's not good.
But hey, because we are a regional show, it doesn't necessarily mean Mr. Mitchell Gunner can't go and investigate that. Because I tell you what, Mitchell, maybe that's an assignment we can put you to doing.
Hey, I don't mind picking up the telephone and seeing what I can do.
I know, that's exactly right.
The only answer that you can get back is either a yes or a no.
That's correct. Lake City Police continue their investigation into a shots fired called on East Duval Street and Northeast Webster Avenue on Thursday night. Nobody was injured after several gunshots were fired near an abandoned property along Duval Street. The Twin Pines Mineral Sands Processing Plant, east of Stark, will close by the end of June. 40 workers will be affected by this closure. The facility is responsible for mining heavy materials, including titanium and zirconium, from the land. Michael, I know that I appreciate you digging that up. I did hear a little something, though. We know a guy that works out there, and he did say they're trying to move that facility to South Georgia. So hopefully once they get all their permits and all the permitting is good, they'll move that facility to South Georgia.
Yeah, and the 40 employees that are affected by this one are being offered internal positions. So
Good.
No layoffs are anticipated.
Oh, that is excellent
They
news.
just got to move.
Yeah, that's and they may not have to move it because it's just go in there and look at there. Our very own Mr. Mitchell Gunner was going to talk about that. He'll get into that just a little bit more. The Bradford County Sheriff's Office turkey shoot has been rescheduled for Friday, April the 3rd at 11 a.m. at the Bradford Sportsman Club. The event was canceled back in December due to heavy rains that saturated the ground. This annual event raises money for our local charities. Don't forget that the Bradford County Fair is coming up March the 3rd through March the 8th at the county fairgrounds. Our very own Michael Heater will be out there heading some of that stuff up, and we'll be doing our show out there twice. So we'll be talking about that as the time comes. Also coming up on Saturday, March 7th is the Let's Do It Vendor Day on Call Street and downtown Star. How about that? Finally, here's your Austin's Weather Service quick and dirty forecast. A cold snap brought near freezing temperatures last night. Look for a bit of a warm-up as we move through the week. Under mostly sunny skies, temperatures rebound into the 70s tomorrow, and rain returns on Tuesday.
Another front.
And that is your quick and dirty for this Saturday night, brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. From the coming cooler weather to a flash forecast, find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook. Our fantastic sponsors tonight. We can't do it without those guys. Miracle Automotive and Recovery in Stark and McClinney. Kenny and Kurt Miracle does a wonderful job. Call 24 hours a day for all your service and towing needs. That number, ladies and gentlemen, is 904-368-1114. That's 904-368-1114. That's Miracle Automotive and Recovery. Harry Business Salon in the Deerfoot Plaza. Open 7 days a week from 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and noon till 4 on Sundays. And the owner of that particular shop is sitting right here helping us produce the show, and that's Mr. Dave Holland. Got a good crew over there. Make sure you go visit him. How about Vicki Williams and Williams Jewelry of Stark, who have changed their store hours, Mitchell, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and, of course, they are closed on Sundays. Right. So make sure you go and check out that jewelry store. Got all kinds of great things there. How about this guy right here? On the spot lawn maintenance. Let the red, white, and blue take care of your green.
I think I know that guy.
You may. We have your gutters and pressure washing covered and all sorts of yard maintenance needs. We also got a partner in that, and that's Bart Norton. Yeah. You can call Bart Norton as well.
He just had a birthday, too.
Yes, he did. Yes. Happy birthday, Bart. Service First Mobile Small Engine Repair in McRae. Let Chuck Scarberry come out to you. Call 904-703-5136 to schedule an appointment. We did the research, and tonight we absolutely know who Mitchell's great-great-great-grandfather is. Byron, I'm going to give you the honors tonight. Drum roll, please.
That would be Mr. Bill Nye, the science guy.
How about that, Mitchell?
I think he's a little too young to be my great-great-grandfather.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that ain't what Maury Povich said. How about that?
All that science made him look good over these years.
There you go. How about that? All that science. There you go. And I also found out Rodgers' son's name. Maury Povich told me Michael Heater. I forgot to tell you, so you can put it on here. I know Rodgers' son's name.
What's his name?
Angelo Cruz.
Wow, that sounds like a nice name.
Angelo Cruz. I don't know how the hell he got that name. But anyway, Angelo Cruz, Roger, is your son's name. And if we need to help you out with that, Roger, we've got a bunch of guys here that can help you out supporting your son.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, well, anyway, how about that? Well, again, welcome to the show. My name is David Rodgers, your host for On the Spot. Thank you for joining us this Saturday night right here from the Bradford County Sheriff's Office.
I can't support.
You can't?
No, I've got another habit I have to support, and that's racing.
Yes, you do. Well, that's exactly right. So
can't help you out, Roger. Sorry.
No, you can't help him out on that. So, but anyway.
Your vehicle look nice. You give me your keys over to you.
Well, see, he's going to pawn your vehicle. There you go. How about that? Roger, Roger's a pretty smart guy, isn't he? Well, there you go, Mitchell. Anyway, to my right is Mr. Mitchell Gunner. To my left is Mr. Byron Bagwell. To my left over here is Roger the Tornado Cruz. Over here to my other left is Mr. Michael the Dragon Slayer Heater. To my right over here is Mr. Dave Holland. Welcome into the show, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to get to. We have a lot of local stuff, Mitchell, that we're going to get into. A lot of events coming up. We've got sports. We got a big fight tonight, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tyson and Fury. Woo, this is going to be a knockout, drag out. Hey, we've also got Byron Bagwell with some national stuff. But we want to start off the show right here with something that we started last Saturday when somebody come and asked me, said, David, you know, we know you, but we don't know you. So I got to thinking about it, and I go, he wants to know about my past. Yeah. He wants to know a little bit of bio about me. So I gave my bio last Saturday. Great show. All you guys commented in. Thank you for doing that. Tuesday night, we had Mr. Blue Eyes himself right here, Mr. Mitchell Gunner, give his. And we're going to let everybody do that on the show. So tonight, we're going to start off again this Saturday night with Mr. Byron Bagwell and his bio. So all of y'all that don't know Mr. Byron Bagwell, you're going to get to know him tonight. There's interpersonal stuff and where he grew up and who his parents are and all those kind of good things that we all went over. So I'm going to turn the floor over to my main man right here, fighting for your freedom and rights. Mr. Byron Bagwell,
yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us on the show as you always do. You've been a great co-host this past year, along with Mr. Mitchell Gunner. Now it's time. Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah. They'll vary after you give this bio.
Well, the bio is not that bad.
No.
And by the way, do y'all guys know what my middle name is?
No, see, we're going to get a chance to know that. I don't know.
You all know it already.
Well, I'm fixing to know it again.
My middle name is Byron.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
My first name is Donald.
Donald. Okay.
Yes.
Did you know that?
You can't do Donald Trump?
No, but I'm sure I'll think of something that I can run with.
Yeah.
Like Donald Duck Byron or something?
He's going to like
Shut the fast.
like the president or like
Sorry.
like the Scottish clan.
Yeah, something to. Well, look at there. Look at there, Donald Byron Bagwell. Look at that, huh? That's coming. Hey, our viewers can see that.
It's BY. Brian. And people have been calling me Byron.
Yeah,
Brian and Brian all of my life, so I'm used to it, and I don't take any offense to it.
No, not at all.
It's all right.
So,
guys, I was born in 1972 on April 9th.
Close. Both of us got two close birthdays.
How
Yeah.
about me?
And my parents were actually, guess where, the night that I was born, actually before they went to the hospital, of course. Guess where they were?
They were at the Chamber of Commerce.
No, they weren't at the Chamber of
Oh,
Commerce.
okay. Sorry, man. I just figured I'd take a guess.
The fair used to always be in April.
Okay.
And it was always on my somewhere around my birthday. It
Right.
was a Sunday, and they were at the fair. And then they went to Alachua General, and I joined the world on April 9th.
All right.
Yeah, 1972.
1972. I can't even count that far back.
I don't know about that.
Well, geez, man, I'd have to count further back for me.
I
thought you were only 30.
Well, that's contrary to popular belief.
Contrary to popular.
Yeah.
Plausible to my
Plausible, yeah, anyway. Same as Dave.
I went to school here in Bradford County.
Okay.
In elementary school, I went to Southside Elementary.
Okay.
And I met almost all of my really good friends that I've known for a long, long time, starting there. I went to Bradford Middle School, and then I went to Bradford High School until 10th grade, and I became a bonehead, just like most people do when they're in high school. And my parents decided they had enough of that, and actually ended up sending me to what was Oak Hall Private School. And I graduated from Oak Hall Private School in 1991.
Okay.
When they sent me there, they actually held me back a grade because they did not think that, even though I had passed 10th grade, that I could actually be up to speed with the private school students.
One of your best friends listens to our show, and one of our brothers now that hooks us all up, Mr. Dwight Allen. You and Mr. Dwight Allen were like this coming up through high school, right?
1978 is when I met him and, and his twin brother, Dwayne.
Wow, isn't that crazy? So there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in first grade.
Close to about as brother as you got right there, isn't it? Besides us boys here, I guess now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I went to school, and when I was in high school, I really, really got interested in music. I'd
Okay.
always loved music,
Right.
and I started playing guitar, and through a bunch of different types of music, mainly hard rock, heavy metal, and blues and things like that. Became interested in music. Well, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in college because I'd set myself on a track to go to college, and I started thinking about actually getting a degree in music.
Right.
I didn't know what I was going to do with that because I wasn't 100% sure until somebody handed me a copy of something called the Bach Lute Suites, and that person was whose father actually taught at Bradford High School. He was choral director, and Don Hardy.
Hardy, yeah.
Don Hardy Jr. is the one that gave me a copy of those. I listened to him and I called him back and I said, that was more than one guitar player. And his response was, no, that was one guitar player. And it was at that moment that I thought, I want to learn how to do that.
Right.
So I started playing classical guitar, and I went to Santa Fe Community College and got a degree in an AA degree. It's just an Associate's of Arts
Right.
with a background in music. And then I went to the University of North Florida and actually got a degree in music performance.
North Florida.
From
Hey, nice
University
school.
of
An Osprey. You're an Osprey.
I'm an Osprey.
Okay.
Meanwhile, during this time, I was actually one of those young skulls full of mush that Rush Limbaugh talks about all the time.
Right.
And I started watching his show on TV. And about half the things he said I didn't agree with, and about half the things he said I did agree with. Well, I kept on getting more and more into politics and understanding more and more about that as I was going along with my music degree. And I've come to actually love politics, our founding, how we were founded, and had more of an appreciation for this country and the men that sacrificed it for it. I should have had it all along because my father was in the military all these times, but sometimes children don't see exactly what their parents do for them, and I'm forever grateful for anybody that serves in the military. I'm especially grateful that my father did. He spent a lot of time away from me and my mother to serve his country, and he ended up being the command sergeant major in the National Guard, and that was for Troop Command. At one time that was in Jacksonville. So
Right.
I have a special appreciation, especially when I got a little bit older and started understanding things for him and for people in the military.
Right.
After college, I actually was working for Altel.
Okay.
I was basically selling cell phones and internet service and dial-up, which people don't know now. And telephone service and long distance service and things like that. And I was looking for a teaching job because I decided I wanted to teach through some of the teachers that I had when I was in band in high school,
right,
and middle school. And I ended up teaching at Jeff Davis Middle School in Jacksonville for a year. And then the middle school band director's position came open in Bradford County. And it was always in the back of my head that I wanted to come back to Bradford County and teach because it's where I grew up.
You wanted to give back.
I wanted to give back to the community that gave so much to me as a kid. So I came back and taught here for 1 year. And then we had a situation here where the powers that be decided that there no longer needed to be a middle school band director's position, and then the high school director could teach both of them, which basically only lasted a year. But by that point, it was too late, and I taught for 3 more years at Hawthorne Junior Senior High School. And I enjoyed my experience teaching. It was very enlightening to see different points of view of people and get to see how people's natures were and are. And I love just teaching music itself. It really was a great experience, making basically, without getting into real depth and detail about it, making a band sound like a band should sound.
Right.
And getting people to play together and work together the way they should. And it's an experience that I would recommend for anybody's children. It would be to be part of the band, because you have to work as a team, as a band, or it does not work.
If I could just interrupt you right quick there, Byron, and how things correlate, how we all know each other.
Sure.
Well, Byron, the year that Byron's talking about when he was here at Bradford Middle School, right after that happened to Byron, I think me and Byron may have known each other, maybe crossing paths just a little bit back in the day. We just didn't know who we were. But once Byron left and went over to Hawthorne, that's when the band program took a dive. And it did, and I'm just going to tell you, it took a dive. And mainly, that's how I got involved in the community, was because you remember I became the band booster president for almost 10 years. We pretty much ran the band program because we were going, and Byron's shaking his head, we were going through band directors left and right. So we actually they actually thought I was the band director at one time. And I was like, wait, no, I'm nowhere near that. I have no clue on that. I said, but us parents.
I wish I would have known you, because I would have helped you with that.
Absolutely.
David, because I still cared, and I really wanted to still be here, but the circumstance just wasn't going to allow it.
No.
They actually asked me to take over the high school. They asked me if I would think about taking over the high school.
I wish you would have.
And my response to that was, there is not one person alive that can run 2 band programs in 2 different schools. You can't do it. There's not enough time in a day. There's not enough blood pressure medication.
No.
I mean, it was a bad decision.
It was a bad decision on.
You can't, as a person that's going into that, as a person that they're telling that the job's no longer going to be there, you can only say that in certain ways, and that's what I did. We told them it wouldn't work, and it didn't. And a lot of people would gloat over that. I don't gloat at all, because those kids that I taught here, I loved. And I wanted to be around them, and I wanted to teach them again. And I wanted the high school program to do more than what it has in the last, I don't know how many years up until this year.
You taught my daughter, by the way, Byron.
I know.
Miss Kristen Rodgers. You taught Kristen. She was in 6th grade. And she loved you. She come home and talked about you all the time. We've talked about this. And when she
the bonehead catchphrase, probably.
But anyway, that's how the correlation of all this, and that's where I started sort of here, was through that band program. But, it's funny how a small community and how we all sort of intertwine with each other. And it just works that way in a small.
But yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It does.
Towards the end of my career at Hawthorne, I started having a health problem that I'd never had before in my life, and I decided it was time for me to do something different other than being a band director. And I basically decided I was going to do something different, and talked to, once again, Dwight Allen and his wife, who was the manager at a place called Barnes Healthcare Services, which services people who are ill. It's a medical equipment company, and I worked for them for almost 14 years. For 13 years, almost 13 years, and then I started working for Haven Hospice, doing the same thing.
Right.
Still giving back to the community, but just doing it in a little bit of a different manner.
Right.
Taking care of sick people.
Right.
You know, my life has been pretty much a whirlwind of different things that I love to do, and I'm very, very thankful for the opportunities that I've had in my life. If my parents had not sent me to Oak Hall, I probably never would have gone to college, and I probably never would have gotten a music degree.
Right.
And I don't know what I would be doing. I probably wouldn't be sitting here, but there's no telling. You see the side of me on the show. I brought my guitar on here and sung the theme song to the show and done some things like that.
Yeah.
But the side of me that you see on the show talks about politics all the time. And that's really not my first love. My first love really truly is music. I've loved music since I was small enough to understand what was going on with a record player. And that's back at that time. That's what I mean. I grew up around artists like Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley, Carlos Santana.
Right.
We talked about that. One of the first songs I ever remember hearing truly hearing and paying attention to in my life was Black Magic Woman. That or Mellow Yellow, and I can't remember who did that one. But there was always some sort of music going on.
Right.
And the older I got, the more I realized through basically a couple of specific happenings in my life with different styles of music. A guy named Randy Rhoads, who used to play guitar for Ozzy Osbourne, that I realized
Another correlation, by the way.
that I listened to a live album that they released from him, and I'd played guitar a little bit before when I was 13, and I looked after I listened to this album and went, I'm going to do that.
Right.
This is incredible. I'm going to do that. And it just started a love affair with music and playing music. And the love affair with music started long before that. But that's really when I go home at night and I'm not thinking about politics and I'm not thinking about watching Fox News or thinking about this event or that event going on. There's a guitar in my hand and I'm singing and playing.
Sure.
And it's just something that will always be with me. It's anybody that wants to play music should play music,
right.
Whether you have a true aptitude for it or not, because it can give you a world of joy. It really can.
Yes, it can.
And it's a great escape too, because once you get into it, the world disappears and it's just you and music.
Right.
There's songs out there about just about every circumstance you could possibly imagine in life, and everybody can find some sort of music that they like.
Right.
So that's really my story.
And the way Byron got onto the show was, and if y'all don't know, and Mitchell sort of said a little bit.
Has anybody seen Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah, there you go. That's how he got on the show. But anyway, when I was going solo, just me and pretty much Dave Holland at one time, and I seen these two gentlemen. They came on, man, and always had something great to say, always had something that made some kind of sense. So I talked to Mr. Dave Holland. Mr. Dave Holland said, hey, man, that Mitchell Gunner will probably be all right to come on the show. Let's test it out and see. We brought him on to be a special guest. And that special guest turned to a lot of views. And a lot of things that he talked about turned into more. And then we made him permanent part of the show. We did the same thing with Byron. We noticed his accolades and the way he came across with his political views and his knowledge of government and his knowledge of our founding forefathers and his knowledge of the Constitution and the knowledge of the Declaration of Independence. And we was like, let's bring Byron on. Man, that hit off good.
Oh.
So now
I was just reading a comment.
Yeah, I can
just got
imagine.
myself in trouble. My mother was a huge supporter for me.
Yes.
And I really probably need to say
yes.
something about that. All the years that my father was gone in the military and with his other job, my mother was rock for me. She truly was. And I just got in trouble for not saying that.
Yes,
But
you did.
I figured it went without saying, even though
Yes,
I
it
didn't
did.
say it, because I wasn't just running around in the streets. My mother and my father had been married for a very long time, and I'm not going to release that number.
Right.
But they've been married for a very, very long time, and I could not have asked for better parents.
No way. Absolutely not.
I really, really couldn't.
So anyway, Byron started, coming onto the show, doing his thing. We brought him on, and now it's just become a regular thing. We just made him permanent parts of the show, as we did with Michael Heater. Michael Heater brought some things to the show as well, and then that's how we've added all the personnel that we have, and we have a great team here. And again, we want you to tune in each Tuesday and Saturday night as we bring this show. We do this for you guys. It's not about us. It's not about any of us. We'll sit here and tell you that. We'll sit here and tell anybody that. It's not about us, brother. It's about those people right there. It's about those viewers that are hitting those likes and those hearts and those smiley faces and those angry faces and whatever else, whoa faces. Hey, it's all about those guys. Dave Holland will tell you the same thing. This is not about us, ladies and gentlemen. This is about you guys. And we just wanted y'all to know a little bit about us. And that's Byron's story there. Next Tuesday, you're going to see and hear a guy that you don't really see all the time, and that's Mr. Dave Holland. Mr. Dave Holland's going to come and give his testimony, his little bio, and his story. We're going to do that with each and everybody on the show. Sure. Why? I think it's very important, and I think it's important to our viewers who they are interacting with, and what we're all about, and who we're about, who we are, and that's exactly right. So,
you can come on and do one of these bios and spend an hour.
Well, you see, I did. I didn't even think I did.
I tried to condense it some because I could go on about what I did when I was a kid. I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I loved riding BMX. You could go on and on and on and on about the things that you did. I didn't even get into the sports I played.
Right.
But,
well, shoot, I left out all about racing.
I left out, well, how about this? I left out about most important part, who I was married to. I'm married to my kids. I mean, so on that last part.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
imagine you got in more trouble than I did with my mother.
Absolutely. And my daughters, which y'all have met on the show before, but still, I never gave them any kind of props. So I'm going to do that as well.
You better do it right now.
Yeah, I better do it. So I've been here with Shelly Rodgers for 33 years. Got a daughter, Kristen, that's fixing to turn 30, that you taught back in middle school in the 6th grade. And
whoa! Without giving her age out. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, because she's fixing to turn the big 30, and I told her I was going to pick on her about that. And then, isn't that crazy? And then my youngest daughter,
but you're picking on me too with it now.
Well, what the hell?
You know how old I was?
I know. You were 20s, in your 20s, bro. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
She says her hair.
Hey.
Hair looks
Wow.
nice.
How about that? Yeah. Michelle Lynn Blanton, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We take pride in our hairs and the way we look and the way we present ourselves. You know why? Because we've got a guy that looks out for us on that kind of thing.
That's right.
And that's Mr. Dave Holland. If we don't look good, Dave goes, man, the show is not going to look good. So he takes care of all of our hair needs. And we want to thank Mr. Dave Holland for what he does on doing that. So.
Yeah, and Charles McKinney made a comment about music, too. He says, I love playing the drums. I have my drum set up in my bedroom. Music puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
Music always does that.
You bring up Charles McKinney. I just want to tell you, Charles, we're thinking about you.
Yes.
We're sorry to hear the death of your mother, and we're
keeping
keeping you and your family in our prayers.
Yep.
If you need anything, just holler. We'll try to help you any which way we need to do.
You know how to get a hold of all of us. So you've been on this show. You're a regular on this show. Charles, anything we can do, as Mitchell said, come on with it. So, but anyway, get back to my daughter. My youngest one's 23. You've seen her on the show. She's modeled some jewelry for Miss Florence Jenkins. By the way, Miss Florence Jenkins texted me and said she'd like to come back on the show. We'll have to try to do that at some point. So we will.
I am getting old.
Oh, I know it. Isn't that crazy?
I am getting old because I'm telling you.
Don't even realize it. Time goes.
When you started talking about your daughter, put 2 and 2 together. We have actually met before this. I met you when at a parents' night.
We did. Mm-hmm.
When I was teaching middle school. When I was teaching his daughter in 6th grade.
In 6th grade. Isn't that crazy? That is just absolutely nuts. And I hated to bring that age thing, but when you got one turning 30 and then you go and look at yourself, you were probably what, 24, 25 when you talked 26? 26
I was about 28.
28. Okay. So there you go.
When I did that, and my ex-wife was actually teaching history.
History. Exactly right.
She probably taught your daughter too.
Probably. What's your wife's name?
Brenda.
Last name?
I don't know what it is anymore, but it was Williams Bagwell.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Different Brenda Williams than the
That's
one
right.
from Williams.
From Williams, yes.
But,
yeah. Okay, I got you. All right. Well, anyway, that's Byron. We're going to have Mr. Dave Holland Tuesday night. Dave, are you ready for your bio on Tuesday?
Oh, I
Or
think
will
I
you
got
be?
a few things.
You got a
I
few
can talk
things?
about.
Well, that'll be great, man, because I tell you, people would like to get to know you, even though they know you from the shop. You've been around here a long time, but people don't really know where you're from, what's your middle name, your sons, your daughters, your grandchildren. So you're going to get the opportunity to do that Tuesday.
Well, I'm going to wait till Tuesday.
All right, that sounds good. And Mr. Heater's back there in the background. Mr. Heater is going to get his chance to do it. Mr. Probst is going to get his chance to do it. Mr. Stevens is going to get his chance to do it. And Mr. Cruz is going to get his chance to do it. How about that?
That
Everybody that's
awesome.
on the show is going to get a chance to do it because I think that they should.
Yeah. I wanted to add one more thing.
Sure.
There's some people on here that I went to school with
Mm-hmm.
that may not remember me by Byron.
Right.
Because when I was in middle school, I started going by Donnie
Okay.
because of my first name and because
Okay.
that's my father's name, and
Right.
I started going by Donnie.
Okay.
You know, the Donald part of it.
Right.
When I was in middle school. That's another little piece of history because there's a lot of
There you
people
go.
that still walk up to me from school and go, "How you doing, Donnie?" And everybody else is looking around like,
Donnie.
"Who is it?"
Who's that?
That's me.
That's fine. I like it. All right, all right. Well, that's some great stuff. Wasn't that some great stuff, guys? Great bio, Byron. Now we're going to go ahead and get to our local stuff, and we're going to turn it over to a guy that's always on the lookout for terrorism and anything else that doesn't belong, wants to try to fix things, and that's our local hero, the guy that they call Blue Eyes, Mr. Frank Sinatra himself. No, that's Mitchell Gunner, by the way. Mr. Mitchell Gunner, man. Welcome to the show, Mitchell.
Sinatra wasn't Mr. Blue Eyes.
What's that?
Yeah.
Sinatra wasn't.
Who was Mr. Blue Eyes? I thought it was Sinatra,
No,
wasn't it?
but I bet my mother can tell you who Mr. Blue
Oh, well,
Eyes
let's
was.
see if your mother will tell you. So, anyway,
I know she can because
Yeah.
it's one of her favorite actors.
well, I can tell you who did have blue eyes. Okay, Paul Newman.
There
Go ahead,
you
Mr.
go.
Paul
That's
Newman.
it.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
That's
Mr. Paul Newman, go ahead.
All right, first going to get into some upcoming events.
Yeah.
Of course, next weekend's the Bradford County Relay for Life
I better get ready.
car show. We're going to have Mr. Rodgers out there as a DJ.
Mhm.
If you want to enter your car, it's $15 a car. If you're a vendor, go ahead and get with me. You can reach me by my telephone, 904-966-1386. We have a few vendor spots still left open at $25. You can't beat that. Most places are way, way higher than that. I want to send a special thanks to our sponsors, Haggerty Insurance, rockauto.com. Also, our award sponsor is Murray Auto Group,
Right.
Automotive.
Motive. Yes. Yep.
Get that correct.
Our halftime sponsor for tornado football, right? The same one, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, Jake's Performance. And I'm still getting some stuff through the mail, probably this week, and more sponsors will be coming forward. I think it's going to be a great event. I think we're going to have good weather. Hopefully, it's not as cold as it was today, but
Right.
Hey, any car show is good as long as there's no rain.
Right.
So we can deal with the heat, we can deal with
Sure.
the cold, we just can't deal with the rain. Also coming up is the 70th annual Bradford County Fair. That's going to be taking place on March the 3rd through the 8th.
70th.
70th.
How in the world did it get pushed back a month? That's nuts.
Wow.
So, well, actually, it has been running in March for quite some time.
Really has it?
And we had been running our spring break
In
on that
conjunction
first
with.
week of March. And this year, that is not happening. Spring break will actually start on April the 13th.
That's
The
correct.
13th.
So,
See, that's when they used to do it. Was they coordinated it back then with the week of my birth because that was always spring break.
right.
Right.
Also coming up on April the 4th is our 150th anniversary for the City of Stark celebration.
Mhm.
It's going to host a cruise in for cars that night.
Right.
We're going to have performances being done and fireworks. So it's going to be a really great event. Like I say, if you want to bring your car down to that, it's absolutely free.
Wow.
So
Okay.
and mentioning that, you can come in that Saturday night, participate in the cruise in, grab you a motel room right here at Stark,
Right.
get up Sunday morning, wipe that car down or truck, and bring it on out to the Strawberry Festival.
That's right.
Because on April the 5th at the Bradford County Strawberry Festival,
Mhm.
we're going to be having a car show. Now, the Strawberry Festival is the 22nd annual, so it's been going on for quite some time. It will start on, like I said, on April the 4th through the 5th. Saturday, the gates will open at 9 a.m. and it will run through to 6 p.m. And on Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, the car show portion of the Strawberry Festival on that Sunday will take place from 10:30 to 1:30. And the entry fee is going to be $15 per vehicle. And that money that's raised will actually go into community and schools.
Okay.
So great to be part of that. Michael Heater, he's been pretty well involved in the 150th celebration for the city of Stark. So if you have any questions, you can ask Michael or myself if it's dealing with the vehicles. Michael,
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? Give a number or anything, or just elaborate on what Mitchell said there a little bit?
Yeah, the city of Stark was incorporated on April 4th, 1870. So
wow, April 4th, 1870.
Yeah, that is so. This we are actually planning the 150th birthday celebration on the actual 150th birthday of the city of Stark.
Wow.
It is going to be running after the Strawberry Festival. Again, the cruise in, we've got some musical appearances scheduled like that one. We're finalizing plans for the fireworks display. It'll be one of the biggest ones we've had in years in the city of Stark. You can get additional information forthcoming through On the Spot. You can also reach out to the city of Stark on their Facebook page, through their general government page, or you can reach out to me, and I am not that hard to find.
No, you're always up. You never sleep.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah. What'd you tell somebody? I heard you talking to somebody on the phone, and you said, "What year is this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. Michael Heater always doing something for the community, and some of the things that Michael gets involved in. Not only does he work right here as a dispatcher, runs a fire station as well, and he gets involved in all these local events and local communities. Great citizen. I'm going to nominate him for Citizen and Volunteer and Citizen of the Year award next year. Maybe they can get that over there at the chamber. Yeah, that's the chamber.
And speaking of which, on the 150th, we are looking at giving at least 5 awards away for the best cruisers that show up to that event. And then also, we're planning on having about the same amount of awards for the car show for the Strawberry Festival as we are for the Relay for Life. So that's going to be about 26 awards. And we already have an award sponsor for that. That's Duval Chevrolet right here in Stark. And by mentioning that, I want people to realize when you're actually shopping for a car, I want you to look at Murray Automotive Group.
Yep.
And also look at Duval Chevrolet.
Stay local.
And see what they do for our community. And by helping us out with events like this, go there and shop.
Absolutely.
I tell you what, you can find a deal here just as well as you can in Gainesville or Jacksonville. So just keep that in mind. And also to bring back up, I know it's on the Q&D, but April the 3rd on Friday is Shooting with the Sheriff.
Yep.
And I haven't got no response back and see if I can bring that M1A out.
And how about the other one too?
Or the Dragonhawk. So
yeah.
So he hasn't got back with me.
Maybe he related through Michael Heater and probably said, "Tell them boys, no, man, get out of here with those."
You think that'd be a little bit too much?
Too much firepower?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I would just like to pull that M1A out of the trunk and just see the sheriff's face. I would just love to see that.
That's maybe why he hasn't answered you yet. Oh, boy.
He probably knows I'm crazy enough to come out
to
there with
pull it off. You got that right.
You might want to shoot it himself.
Yeah, he may. Yeah, he may. You may
Very possible.
Very possible.
I want to just let y'all also, we're getting into some news now. In Gainesville, detectives say that Shirley West has been missing since late December. She's 35 years old. What's wrong with you? She's 35 years old.
You should have never told me her alias.
And she's 5'8". Detectives say that she may have left the state and headed to Georgia. If you know where her whereabouts are at, please contact Gainesville Police Department. And you can also go on to, I think it's CBS 4 in Gainesville. There's a picture of her with a little bit more detailed story than what I've gave. So check it out. Also, I want to mention that UF Health opens a new center for autism and neurodevelopment. The facility is 15,000 square foot. So it's a very big
Holy
place.
mess.
I think they actually have a rock wall that you can climb up.
That's awesome.
Wow,
And
that's really.
and what it is helping people with problems with their nerves and stuff, how to do certain things that they may not think they could do. This is located over at Spring Hill Medical Complex at 4101 Northwest 89th Boulevard, and they have already started seeing patients this past Friday.
Great. That's great
So,
news. Yes.
Good thing that we have these places popping up to help, children and adults who are faced with autism. Also mentioned on the quick and dirty, Twin Pines Mineral Sands processing facility near Stark will be closed at the end of June. They are expecting 40 workers to lose their jobs, but they also have been offering them other positions within or at other locations.
That's great.
To try to,
Good.
keep them connected with the company, and that's a good thing. No company loves to go in and say,
No.
"Hey, we're closing down. Here's your last check." Pat you on the back and send you out the door.
Well,
And especially if you're a really good worker for them, they don't want to have to do that to their employees.
well, that's what happened to sort of like this. That's what happened to SMI Joyce and CMC when I worked out there. Gentlemen that's been here. I don't know if Michael was here when that particular place was open, but we had 300 employees at one time.
Yep.
And then we dwindled down to about 175, then went down to about 100 and a half, and we kept that number for a while. And then we acquisitioned some different debt mills and some things like that. And I think they bit off more than what they could chew, just to be honest with you. And it put them into a negative, into their monies that was coming in. So they had to shut it down. That's when New Millennium bought them out. But that was 150 people that lost their jobs at any one time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And thank goodness I was one of the last ones to go. But when you get a notice in 2009, late 2009 and 2010, you better be shut down. That's a tough pill to swallow. And for my family, unfortunately, me and Shelly both worked out there, so we took a double hit.
Oof.
And that job right there was probably one of the better paying jobs I ever had. And I still haven't recouped that money yet, but it's tough when you take a hit like that.
Right.
And like I said, I've got a job that I love now. Shelly's got a job. She works with the kids at the high school. Been there since 2010, since that place is shut down. All the kids love her. I worked with FedEx after that, and then, like I said, I work at New Millennium now, and so that job has allowed me to do what we're doing now. So it's not always about the money, but the money does help, doesn't it? It always helps. So
You know what they say: the more you make, the more you spend.
that's exactly right. And it hurt my lifestyle a little bit. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. It hurt my lifestyle a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of have to take a.
I was driving new
back
cars
seat.
every year. I think I was driving new cars every year. Man, can't do that no more. So it settles you back. It settles you back to what on your spending and your budget. So you have to get used to it. So, but anyway, I'm glad those 40 people is going to be getting back to that. It's going to be able to find something within. And like I was telling Michael, and Michael's even heard about it too, they're going to be able to move that plant to South Georgia at some point.
Right.
And they're just waiting on the permits and stuff for that. And all them people will be back to work. So that's awesome.
Well, and this story right here really strikes a nerve. In Palm Beach County, Florida, a teacher has been suspended for washing out a student's
I've
mouth
seen that.
with hand sanitizer. This happened at Polo Park Middle School in Willington. Annette DeHart was upset with the student, and this incident actually really happened all the way back in October.
What?
And it was investigated, and I guess it was proven truthful that she did do it. And the student was really smart. The student, after the incident happened, went straight to school officials and reported the incident.
Good.
So that's what you need to do, and he or she done the right thing. But that is just totally.
That's going above and beyond discipline a child. That is that's more of the borderline of what do I want to say there?
Abuse?
Yes, that.
Yeah,
to me,
that
that
is that's and it could be considered.
Oh
abuse,
yeah,
to be
I
honest.
imagine there's probably going to be more charges coming on down the line. I mean, they can get DCF involved, and no student
Why
should
would
be
you do
treated that way.
idiocy like that?
This is the world, gentlemen, that we've come to know. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, when all of us was going to school, we didn't have that problem because you know who I was afraid of?
Mom
Not
and Dad.
only, yes, I was afraid of what mom and dad was going to do
And
when
that
I got home.
paddle,
And that paddle that either the principal or
principal
the
or the
coach
teacher, or the teacher,
or the teacher or the
back then,
coach generally
teachers
for
could
me.
do that too.
Yeah. So, but that's the world that we're relegated to, and people think they can take things a little further than what is necessary. If you think something's wrong, guys, and you go to do something, it probably is wrong. What is the old saying? If it smells like a duck or whatever it is,
Walk like a duck.
walk a duck like
Smells like a
It is
duck.
a duck.
it is a duck.
Smells
So,
like Robert.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
there's one thing I'd like to mention. One thing that we're going to try to do here, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, is we're going to try to start getting some of the candidates that are actually running for office to come on. I know Ted Yoho's seat, I think he has like close to 13 people in the Republican Party that is running for that seat. And we like to get
Whole
them
bunch of
them here
Yep.
and talk with them.
Any luck in getting that special guest moderator?
I think what we're going to do. I think we're going to go through and we're going to look at some ways that we can ask them questions, and I want it structured in a manner that we ask each candidate the same exact thing.
Boo! We're in ADO, audience-driven overtime, Mr. Mitchell Gunner. How about that? Audience-driven overtime. Obviously, we've come up to some subjects right here, Mitchell, locally, and some of the things that you brought to us. We're in audience-driven overtime. It's for you guys. Here we go. Keep it rolling, Mitchell.
And we want to make it fair for each one of those candidates. We don't want to,
Correct.
ask one a question and totally be a different topic with another one. And if you are also a Democratic candidate, we'd
Sure.
like to have you on as well.
Love to.
And
Yeah.
and I tell you, we're going to keep the same structure
Sure.
throughout with both candidates, or with both parties, who they're affiliated with. I think it's a good thing. I know we've already had a couple who are really thinking about coming on here. I talked to Kat, that's actually running today. I went to her function, and she's really interested about doing it. She's actually thinking about coming out for the car show and being around talking with people. Justin Sapp, he showed a lot of interest for being here, and Gavin Rollins. So I think it's going to be great.
I've sent word to Miss Stacy Creighton. She'd like to come back onto the show. She's running, she's trying to get her seat back in the superintendent race. Have not talked to Mr. Will Hartley yet.
Right.
I'm sure he would probably love to come on. Absolutely. And there's some others.
Vivian Chappell, her seat's up. I actually got finished signing her petition card today. She's going around trying to get all of her petitions signed. And I want to put that out there. If someone comes to your house and they're running for office and they want you to sign a petition card, go ahead and sign their card. To me, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead and sign their card. Let them run. It doesn't mean that you support them. It just means that you sign the card so they can collect those signatures. And what that does, they're able to save money by doing that. And I've actually been going around getting a few of them signed for Brian Kramer, which is running for state attorney. So just go ahead and sign it. Don't mean that you're 100%. I've signed so far every candidate that's running for Ted Yoho's seat. I've signed every one of their petitions to give him, try to save them money.
And I'm glad you said that, Mitchell, because we want to be fair to all the candidates. If you're interested in coming onto the show, please email us, please call us, please contact us. Y'all all know all of us. Please contact us, and we'll get you a spot here on the show. Like he said, whether you're Republican, whether you're a Democrat, or any office that you're running for, or in between, please. We would love to have you on the show. We give you your time on the show. Just like we would anybody else. And I do want to ask Michael Heater something. I do believe Denny Thompson came up to me the other day. Is he running for tax collector?
Yes.
Clerk of the court.
Clerk of the court, excuse me. Clerk of the court. Him and Lisa Alvarez Rodgers, right?
Two of them are running
Against each other. And I know they're great friends. I know they went to school together, I believe, or somewhere in the line there. So it ought to be an interesting race. I'm going to see if both of them can come on the show as well. So
Exactly.
this will be great. I'm telling you, we've got some great people running for some great offices here. Hey, and if you're listening in, if you have, whether you live in Pascagoula, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, which we have a few people that listen in from that side, send us your guys. Hey, we would love to talk about your guys. Hey, we'll put it out there for you so you can share it with all your friends and tell them what? On the spot, from Start Florida, is talking about your candidates over in your county or in your city. That's what we do here. So please let us know. It's just not all about us here. It's about other places too as well. And we've got a national a race coming up too. So we got a little bit of it.
There's one man I like to get on here that's actually running for office as soon as we can, and that's the sheriff.
Yeah. The sheriff has already talked about coming on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Gordon's always good when he comes on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And anytime he wants to come on, as you see,
his name's on the door.
His name's on the door. So, Gordon, if you wanted to show up right now, brother, hey, we'll pull up a seat right here, brother. We ain't got no. Oh, no, you can stay here. We're just going to pull up another seat.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Gordon, all of our great friends, and I tell you, man, what a great guy, man. He's got a great giving heart, and he does a wonderful job for our community.
And I'm going to go ahead and mention it. I think this is going to be Miss Chappell's last term. And after she is finished, I will be running for that school board seat.
And I'm glad that you said that good, because I think that with the stuff that you've been doing, you've been on the spot with us here. And like I said, all the things that you're doing and some of the political connections you have, I don't think it'd be a problem, brother. I think you would do great in that job.
And one of those things that I like, when it's time for me to run, one of the reasons why is because of my background in construction and facilities, all the way down to bus mechanics at the bus barn, what they have to deal with, working on these engines, our food service,
janitorial workers.
Right. To me, it's not all about the teachers. It's about every department, which helps the school system run smooth. It takes everybody. Can't get the students there without the bus drivers. The bus drivers can't drive the buses without the mechanics. So to me, it's everybody that's involved, and you have to look about.
If you want to come to a dirty school, just get rid of those janitors, huh?
Right.
Boy, that'd be a pig pen every day, wouldn't it?
You better believe it.
Good grief. Hey, janitors see quite a few things too, don't they, Mitchell?
I guess they do.
And sometimes they do, don't they? I guess. Well. Anyway, that's another thing. You know what I'm saying, bro? Right. So, what else you got, Mitchell?
Well, I've got some stuff on sports, but I'm going to wait for that.
Okay.
That's going to be dealing with NASCAR and NHRA, and I'll tag that right at the end.
All right. Before we get into Byron's segment, we're going to get into some comments. I know we have a lot of great viewers on Byron, as we always do. So we're going to get into some comments. I'm going to let Byron read some of the comments. Byron, anything that don't
your broadcast partner for Tornado Football actually said, that's Mr. Kevin Howell, actually said it's 180 days till Tornado Football starts again.
Really? 180 days? But who's counting, right? 180 days till Tornado Football. Okay. Good. Well, you guys are going to be up in the booth too, ain't you? Yeah. So that's part of it.
Charles McKinney said, "Thank you guys for the thoughts and the prayers."
Absolutely. Anytime.
Sinatra was all blue eyes.
So he was.
The St. Augustine is holding the Come Ye Brave Men event this next Saturday too, which is it's Highland Games is what it is.
Okay.
You're talking about kilts and
medieval stuff, right? Not quite that far, but
just Scottish tradition.
Yeah, Scottish tradition.
I
wonder if you'd look good in a kilt.
Yes, I would.
Would you?
Yes, I would.
That's contrary to popular belief.
No, it's not.
All right, I'll let you have that one. How about you, Mitchell? Never mind.
I'm going to be busy the next couple of weeks. I got a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, you do, Blue Eyes.
Ted Yoho was a great congressman, and we're going to miss him.
Yeah.
Mitchell, you would have my vote. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell
I
you
want to
about
hear Byron's views.
Ted Yoho. He said he was going to go there. He was going to serve 2 terms, and he was going to move on.
Yep.
And he stuck to his promise.
What promise? So
Maybe
what
one
did
day
Renee
he'll
say?
run for Senate.
See, here's he won't, because he went up there and he did what he said he was going to do, and he come back home. And this is one of the problems that I have with term limits, passing term limits. You get somebody up in Washington, D.C. like Ted Yoho, who actually goes up there and does what he says he's going to do, and he only serves 2 terms.
But they actually do have term limits every 2 years
Well,
when it comes to vote time.
For vote time.
Yeah, but tell that to Robert Byrd.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
You know, the Klansmen. Excuse
What-
me,
what-
the
what?
Glenn Klugel Klansmen.
But there you
or
go.
the
All
Grand
right.
Wizard,
there we
or
go. Okay.
whatever they call that. From the
BBR.
Democrat Party that served for almost 50 years
Right.
in the Congress or Senate,
Right.
whichever one he was, because I never paid attention to him.
And his favorite word was barbaric.
Yeah. Barbaric.
Yeah, sort of like your membership in the Klan.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. But you have to take the good with the bad with it, and really that's the way it was built in for term limits, was the voters. That's how they designed it. So it really, it's up to the voters to do that. But apparently they've got it to where they have some districts where that never happens.
Before we go on, I forgot something, and I want to remind everybody again.
Sure.
The collection site out at Keystone will be closed on the 25th and 26th for them to make repairs. They're going to be widening that entrance out. The route inside the collection site is going to be different. You will come in off of 100. You will drive behind the cardboard box collectors. You will come up the ramps from the other side, and you will exit out on the right side. That will be back open, like I said, on the 27th if they don't have any rain delays on redoing the inside. So I want to again thank our county commissioners, Benny Jackson and Jason Dodds, for working with me and Tom Germano on getting repairs done there to try to help with the congestion on 121B to make that intersection a safer place. And so I just didn't want to leave that out.
And I wanted to thank also not only you and Tom Germano for doing that piece, but I want to thank Mr. Dave Holland for videotaping it.
Yes.
Mr. Dave Holland, always on top of all these stories and stuff. If you haven't seen that story, go onto our page and you'll be able to find that story. Right now, I think it's over 26 or 2,700 views.
Oh, yes.
And you can see what we're talking about, why we are so passionate about our community and getting things done. Mr. Mitchell Gunner has been involved in several projects, Byron as well, and we try to get on board as much as we can. Mr. Michael Healer's been involved in some too. So we're just trying to make the community better, Mitchell, is all we're trying to do here.
And I want to thank the sheriff because the sheriff usually has our back on these situations and supports us on on the things that we're trying to do here. And like I mentioned, 144th and 100, they done those surveys. We will be getting a flashing beacon there. It's just a matter of time. It's going to be put on their project list. I mean, it may take a year before it gets there, but hey, it's coming.
Right.
I wanted signals there, but we'll take what we can get from FDOT
Absolutely.
and then move forward. If we're still having accidents in the area that's really bad, we can take that crash data back to them and said, hey, the flashing beacon's not working. We're actually going to have traffic signals put in at these intersections.
That's right.
So, Mitchell, I was off by 1,500 views. It's only at 4,200 views now.
Well, that's good.
So, how about that?
Reached 4,200 people.
Reach 4,200 people. How many views, actually, Dave? That's what I was looking at. That's I know it's reached over 4,200. Should stay right there. Last number I seen was 2,700. Or 2,800, that's a great number, considering our viewing audience and who this goes to. So that means there must have been some shares somewhere between people. So that's awesome.
And also want to mention why I see that the sheriff is
on
tonight. Out at 225 and 16. I don't know how long those 45-mile-an-hour.
It's been a little bit now, I think.
So they have been up for a little while. Okay.
Yeah.
So they did drop that speed down to 45 before you get to that intersection.
Yep.
And they're going to keep on monitoring that as well. And if they still see the increase of accidents happening in the area, we may be able to move on to traffic signals.
Yes. So we went and checked that Tuesday night. Mitchell had me go check that Tuesday. We got on the phone. I said, Mitchell, yep, that's good to go right now. So
and go ahead and put this in. This is from the sheriff.
Yeah.
He says traffic crashes remain Bradford County's leading cause of death.
Isn't that crazy?
And also FHP also put out a report that there has been an increase last year compared to other years of hit and run accidents.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, if you're driving a vehicle and you think that you struck something,
Stop.
Make sure what's going on. Make sure if it's an animal or a person. And if it's a person, come on, call 911.
Yeah.
Try to minister help, because you know what? It might not have been your fault.
It
that
may
you
have
hit
not
them
have been.
in the first place, but if you leave the scene of an accident,
It is going to be your
are
fault.
the guilty party.
No matter
and
what.
you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Yep. At the very least, vehicular manslaughter. So, yeah, you may want to think about that. So, Mitchell, thank you for that great local report. I've seen our Sheriff Gordon Smith was on. Sheriff, thank you again for everything that you do for us, letting us use this beautiful building. And we're ready for you to come back on anytime. You got an invite, you know, when you're wanting to come on. So, I'm going to turn it over, Mr.
Ask him about the dragon off.
Yes, I can. I will ask him about the dragon off on that. So going over, look at Byron. Look at Byron. Yeah, we'll talk about that later, Byron. But anyway, I'm going to send it over to Mr. Byron Bagwell with our national and world news and some political views that we may have here. So I'm going to send it over to Mr. Byron Bagwell, and then we're going to get into our sports. We've got a big, great fight tonight I want to get into, one that's been anticipated from the heavyweight division for a long time.
Wilder
and Fury. Ooh, that's going to be.
rematch.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that in our sports. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to our guy that fights for our freedoms and our rights, Mr. Bagwell. What you got for us tonight, my brother?
Well, once again, we're in an election year. And what's going on with the election year is we're having primaries right now, and the Democrat Party is holding their primaries, and there was a debate the other night, and we had a new participant, Mike Bloomberg, in those debates,
Right.
and it was pretty rough.
Right.
It was
actually comical.
That's the least. I'm not even going to get into that.
I watched about 20 seconds of it, and they were trying to rip each other to shreds.
Yeah, they were.
Between Mike Bloomberg and Bernie Sanders and Miss Elizabeth Warren and Mike Bloomberg, and basically what was going on between them is you were having a battle between the socialist wing or communist wing, whichever one you want to call it, of the Democrat Party, and the basically the regular Democrat Party.
Right.
It was ugly, and I'm not sure.
It was ugly.
I'm not exactly sure who won it. I mean, the person that keeps on coming into my head that come out looking better because he was not in the middle of getting beat up constantly was actually Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
The only thing I was upset about, I didn't get to see Joe Biden go around and hug and kiss everybody from behind.
Really, Mitchell?
He wasn't there. I mean, he didn't do it. And I thought he would at least go to each one of them.
Somebody has got to
give him a little hug and a kiss in the ear.
Somebody has got to Joe Biden and told him to stop
that. Yes, stop
So
that.
that's what he's done.
As a matter of fact, I did
did
see something. I did see something where they told Joe Biden he's got to keep his hands above the waist. Anyway, go ahead, Byron.
Well, I kind of find it funny that you have this billionaire, this multi-billionaire, running for president in the Democrat Party amongst all of these people who are so anti-money. It's kind of strange because they all ganged up on him about the fact that he made billions.
Right.
Look, maybe the only thing that I like about Bloomberg is the fact that he was smart enough to make those billions of dollars, and that's what this country's about. Not just about making money, but the ability to do that and the freedom to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they all ganged up on him.
Like they don't want to be billionaires.
They're millionaires to begin with.
Right.
They weren't that way when they got into the government. So, I mean, they must not have too bad of a problem making money. Bernie's got, what, 4 houses now?
Yeah, and guess what? He didn't start working until he was over 40.
Bernie did not have Bernie did not have a job until he was in the government.
That's it.
He followed his mentor Karl Marx and didn't have a job until he he lived off of people. Is what he did. But this is going to be interesting. We have
yes, it is, because I want you to give him an invite, please.
Yes, and Mr. Marshall, you are more than welcome.
Love you, brother.
To come on this show. We'd love to sit here and have a debate with you. You know, it'll be civil.
Absolutely. He taught my daughter, and he's a great teacher, and I love him to death.
I would love to have you and Mr. Harris on at the same time. That would be absolutely wonderful.
And I promise, Byron, we'll take you out to dinner afterwards.
I could do that.
I would do that too.
I would be glad to do that.
Yeah, I could do that.
I would.
I can do that.
Yeah, I've known Mr. Marshall for years and years.
Yeah,
love him.
Great guy.
No name calling, little Marco, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. They were passionate without acting ugly. They were passionate without, except for Elizabeth Warren. I thought she was going to blow a vein when she was talking to Bloomberg. And I'm sitting here going, guys, this man has made what he made because he's an American. Don't go down that route. And Bernie Sanders, I have a hard time talking about Bernie Sanders because I know about Bernie Sanders' past and some of the things he's said and some of the things he's done, and it's just not good. But the debates are getting interesting, and it's actually meshing itself out. You have Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
And Bernie Sanders actually, I believe, is actually leading this.
Correct.
Pete Buttigieg.
Right.
Yeah, he actually just won the
Nevada.
Yes.
Nevada primaries. He won the Nevada primaries.
Yes.
And then, depending on where you look at it from there, it's Elizabeth
Warren. Right.
And I can't remember where they said Bloomberg was positioned, but I think the next person is Joe Biden, and then maybe Amy Klobuchar. But it's if you want information on that, those debates are what you need to go to and look at, because they're going, if you're a Democrat, they're going to express your views. You need to do your homework on who you want to vote for, and you need to go listen to them and make your decision. On the other hand, the Republican primaries happened at the same time, and nobody's talking about this because the two people that are running against Donald Trump the numbers are literally non-existent.
Right.
So it's Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee for president, and that's typical. Whether it's somebody that's had the problems Donald Trump's had, or it's just a run-of-the-mill Republican or Democrat president, they're normally going to be nominated again if they're the president to begin with, unless something crazy happens like what happened with Nixon.
Right.
So, but take your look at who you want. Make sure that you go and vote, because that is your voice.
Yes, it is.
In our government. And then after you voiced your opinions on who it is, if you get them into office, make sure you're calling them and talking to them about what they're doing, whether you like it or not, because that is what our government is about. So, there's a little bit of a issue now that I'm hearing that's going on with something that was said and done in a security briefing, how this actually got out. I don't know. Once again, our agencies, our national agencies, the FBI, CIA, the NSA, seem to have a problem with leaking like a sieve, because now all of a sudden Russia is going to interfere with our elections again. I just wanted to let everybody know Russia has been interfering with our elections for probably 50 years now.
I'm sure.
Okay. What they do is they try to sow discord and try to make people not understand what's going on. And they don't really pick a candidate and say, I'm going to endorse this candidate and we're going to do all we can do to do that. And the one thing that I did want to bring up with this is everybody's saying Donald Trump, they're going to interfere with Donald Trump. They want Donald Trump to win. You have to use your head about this. The sanctions that have been put on Russia from time to time from Donald Trump because of their actions would not foster them supporting Donald Trump, number one. Number two, if you really wanted, Russia really wanted a candidate that would support Putin's ideas about what his nation should be, then the person you should look at is Bernie Sanders. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be ugly.
Right.
This was a man that honeymooned in the USSR.
Yep.
In Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
In the USSR, for those of you who don't know, it was the Soviet Union. He honeymooned in Moscow. He praised their bread lines. He praised the brand of socialism that they had.
He took a picture in front of the Basel Cathedral.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah, and if y'all know where the Basel Cathedral is, it sits right in the middle of Moscow. Right there. Yeah,
it's in the middle of Moscow. So I mean, if you really want to know who Russia would back and Putin would back, it would be Bernie Sanders.
Correct.
So you have to use your head about this. A lot of this is just nonsense to be thrown out there as nonsense. I'm tired of hearing about Russia. We did Russia for 2.5 years, and it was proven to be complete nonsense. So Russia's going to interfere with us, just like China is going to interfere with us, just like we do in some of their elections. And if you don't believe that we do that, then take a look at what the Obama administration did to Bibi Netanyahu the last time Bibi was elected in Israel.
Right.
They were monetarily backing his candidate. So, countries mess with other countries' candidates, and it's not necessarily to back someone. It's basically to sow discord in our political systems to make us weaker. So that's what all of that's really truly about. There's a few other things that are going on. The coronavirus, we have some more cases of that, and there's of course more news that China's not reporting the correct numbers of that. And I'm not reporting numbers because I really don't know, and I'm not sure anybody really knows. I really don't want to report numbers because they're probably not right, because the Chinese government is what it is. They're not going to tell us. There are some more cases inside the United States because there were, like we were saying Tuesday night, there were some people shipped back on a cruise ship. They actually didn't originate here. So there's no more new numbers correct in the United States that you've heard.
I actually did all the research. I was doing that as a reminder to you, but
Right.
I mean, if you got to go with it, so you're good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more. As far as I know, there's no more.
Is there anything
new numbers that actually?
I've got an update if you want it.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Well, please. Yes, please come on in. Yes, come on in, Mike. Okay. So we are talking about the coronavirus a little bit, as Byron just alluded to, and our famous director right here, Mr. Michael Heater's been doing some research and got some updated numbers and things to look out for.
As of noon today, the Centers for Disease Control, working with the World Health Organization, reports that the virus has spread to 28 countries around the world. They confirmed 1,500 cases outside of China, with multiple infections in the United States, Italy, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. One case reported in Egypt, which is the first to be confirmed on the African continent. The highest death toll outside of China is Iran with six this morning.
I heard the news about that.
China is still reporting what we believe to be underreporting.
Right.
That they have 76,000 cases with 2,300 deaths. So, as you indicated, South Korea added 229 new coronavirus cases today, driving the total to 433. The Prime Minister is reporting the situation as grave because of the fact that they have not been able to figure out how to slow the virus spread down. More than half of the cases, though, are being targeted towards a specific religious sect, which is dealing with families and contacts within this particular religious group. The fourth largest city in reporting that over 350 people who do volunteer work with the church and is involved with the church have tested positive in the last 3 days.
Wow.
More than 1,250 people in the sect have tested positive for symptoms, and they're still trying to locate 700 people that are part of the church to be screened. They are currently unaccounted for. In the United States, they are indicating that, as you indicated, that a number of Americans that were exposed on a cruise ship are being treated. At this point, 34 people in the United States have the virus as confirmed, 18 of them from the Diamond Princess cruise ship. However, all 34 cases have been linked to overseas travel, and there is no indication that the virus is spreading among communities in the United
States.
Right.
So they've got it under control in this country. And as far as we know, there are no confirmed cases in Florida, correct?
That is correct.
The nearest is South Carolina still, right?
That is correct. South Carolina.
Okay.
South Carolina's the nearest place.
Northeast, and of course on the West Coast.
And on the West Coast,
Yeah.
right.
So we don't have any cases of the coronavirus here, which is a good thing. There is really not a whole lot that I wanted to talk about tonight, other than the
Good.
debates, and I wanted to hit a little bit about the Russia thing because we got to cut that out.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to cut it out. There is no president of this country that is going to be another country's puppet. That is
Right.
just that is farcical, and yes, I will use that word.
Well, Byron, thanks for that report. Noah, no, Michael Heater just told you, and so did Byron. There is no reported cases in the state of Florida. The nearest is South Carolina. Everything else is pretty much west of the Mississippi and West Coast, right, Mike?
And those are all related to people that have traveled out of the country and have returned and are under physician's care.
Right. So we'll keep you updated as this either becomes more prevalent or hopefully this goes away. Mike, last Tuesday I said something about the Japanese trying the AIDS deal. Did they get that to work yet, or has?
Let me do an update. They said they
Oh,
were
you're
having
talking about the AIDS treatment.
Treatment,
Is what
yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the initial reports was that they had some positive results in very limited testing.
Right.
They were going to expand it. Give me a few minutes, and I'll get the latest from the World Health Organization.
How about that? There we go. See, that's why Michael Heater is where he's at, because he can give us the latest and the greatest right here.
Tuesday, I'm going to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to try to figure out how close they are to making the vaccine for this.
Yeah, and
because they're already talking about making
Yeah.
vaccines for it, and I imagine there's all sorts of scientists and doctors that are chemists that are working on that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll tell you, hey, it's been a great show so far. Again, we're on the spot with David Rodgers. To my left, Mr. Byron Bagwell. To my right, Mr. Mitchell Gunner. Also, to my right is Mr. Dave Holland, our big-time producer. To my left over here, Special Projects Coordinator and Sports Guy, Mr. Roger the Tornado Cruz. Over here doing his research, our director, Mr. Michael Heater. And missing in action tonight on special assignment, John Probst and Austin Stevens. Again, now it's time for the sports report, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, here we go, here we go. I always start off with our very own local Bradford Tornadoes. Again, guys, if you live outside the area and you got a sports team you want to talk about, just email us and stuff. We'll be more than glad to share. Sure. Hey, I'd love to hear what's going on in other places, wouldn't you? Yeah. Oh, we love sports. We love local sports. We love high school sports. We love any sport. So please hit us up. Let's start off with the BHS Tornado ladies softball team and the boys baseball team. Man, guys, their regular season started and they've had a rough week to the start. That's okay. Neither one of them has won a game yet, but I do see improvement. So I'm going to tell you last week's results. Let's start off with the ladies softball team. Oh, yeah. Coach Kevin Blankenship, we all know him, doing an outstanding job with our girls. Last week, On Tuesday, they lost to Gainesville Buchholz 12-11. Not a bad game, just lost a close one there. Then Thursday, must have not their bats, he said, wasn't going so great, and they lost to Clay High School 12-2. Yeah. Then on Friday, they went over to Santa Fe. Now, all three games these were on the road. They lost to Santa Fe High School 6-2. So you see it starting to get better. Now we've got some games coming at home. Now those ladies softball tornado players will be able to turn the season around. We get some bats cranking, some good pitching. We could probably win several of these games right here.
I'll be at that game. So then I take pictures and I send to you.
That's very good, Roger. I appreciate that. The boys baseball team had 2 games this past week, and they lost. Baker County, they was over at Baker County. I think we reported they won, but they did not win. They actually lost 11-4. And then on Thursday, they went over to Middleburg, and they lost 8-3 to Middleburg. So if you thought that they were 1-1, they are not 1-1. They're 0-2, and they did lose to Baker County 11-4. So we're 0-2 on the young season, but hey, we have time to catch up with this. So with the Lady Tornadoes softball team this week, they'll have Gainesville High School. The Purple Hurricanes will come here to Tornado Alley softball field. Then on Tuesday, Buchholz will coming back. Now we can get some revenge because they'll be at our place. Right. Yeah. These games are at 6:30. And then Ocala Vanguard will come here to Tornado Alley softball field. No, actually, we'll go there. I'm sorry. We're going to Ocala. So 2 home games, 1 away. And let's see if we can win 2 or 3 of these games, and we'll be right back in the thick of things, right? Absolutely. The boys, again, on Wednesday, February 26th. Look at all these away games right here, brother, the first 5. They're going to Buchholz. That game's at 6 p.m. Then they're going to, our little Robles down the road there, the Keystone Heights Indians. That game starts at 7. And then they'll go over to PK Young and play the PK Young Blue Wave on Friday night. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 6 for the Buchholz game, 7 for the Keystone and PK Young games. Maybe they can turn it around. Maybe their bats will crank up. Maybe we can start getting a couple of wins right here. The boys track team was in action as well, and the girls. The Bradford High School had a meet over at Oak Hall. I didn't get all the results on that, but I know we won 4 or 5 events over there. I believe we won several of the dashes over there, and I do believe that either we won the discus or the shot put in both the girls and the boys. Cool. So they fared well over there. Yes. Their next meet will be at Wolfson High School, and that's on the 25th of February, and that meet starts at 4 p.m. So make sure if you can go out there and support those guys as well. The Bradford Middle School team will be back in action on the 27th, as they will go to Middleburg High School, where Wilkinson Middle School will be hosting that meet there at Middleburg High School track. And that starts at 4:30. And I do believe that we've got several fast little kids there, both boys and girls, and we have been doing a great job there. I will get you some more results as I talk to Coach John Loper, who is coaching both of these teams. So, Coach John Loper, if you're listening in, or if Miss Stephanie Loper is listening in, give me some results and give me some of the names of these kids, and I will be glad to put them on the air for you. Also, the tennis team, they're in full swing. That's Coach Chris Johnson. Coach Mitch Dublowski used to coach them. He's no longer coaching them, but I've heard they've had a couple of great outings, and they will be at Ridgeview. No, excuse me. They'll go to Bishop Kenny this week, the boys and the girls. That meet is at 3:30 at Bishop Kenny. And then they'll go to Bowles High School. And we've seen that facility. That's a nice facility over there, Dave. We walked right by it. And that meet is at 3 p.m. Again, Coach Chris Johnson's got these guys playing well. Let's see what they can do in those 2 meets there. The Bradford High School girls flag football team will start their season on March the 3rd, as Middleburg will come here. Coach Adrian Mosley is the coach for the flag football team. They haven't won a game in 2 years, but he thinks that things will turn around. Talk with him a little bit. That game's at 6 o'clock on March the 3rd. And all on the home games, they will be playing on the new field.
Great.
They'll be playing on that new field. So that should be an interesting time with that. Also, Bradford weightlifting is going on. Oh, well, before I get to weightlifting, let me get to something that's really important, because I am proud of a young man that made regionals for our boys wrestling team. Their districts were held this past Wednesday at Clay High School. We had one of our Tornadoes qualify for the regional tournament. Do all y'all know? I know you do, Roger. Do you know Austin Barnes?
Yes.
Austin Barnes will represent Tornado Nation. Coach McDuffie and Coach Mitchell will be there. Mitchell Gunner, is that you? No,
That's not me.
No, but you would be.
Who is his dad?
Who's his dad? I'm trying to remember his first name. You know who I'm talking about.
Is it David?
I think it is, that's his uncle, one of the two. But anyway, he is a Barnes, and the regionals will be in Wakulla, Florida. This is this coming Friday and Saturday. So good luck to Austin, and let's see if he can qualify for state. Austin Barnes, let's go. Congratulations. Let's go get that, brother. Hey, we're behind you. We got your back. Of course, we talked about the middle. Oh no, we didn't. The middle school Tornado softball team and baseball teams are underway and looking to have good seasons. The 3 games that are scheduled this week, if you know, the middle school and the boys and the girls travel together. They play at the same times at the same facilities unless otherwise specified. So Monday, February 24th, they'll go to Oakleaf and play Oakleaf Middle School. Game times are at 5 p.m. Then Wednesday, February 26th, their first home game of the season, as those late Butler Tigers come screaming here to our field, and that game will be at 5 p.m. And then Thursday, the 27th, we'll travel to Green Cove Springs to play Green Cove Middle School. Game time is at 5 p.m. there as well. The BMS girls softball coach, if you don't know, is Mr. Todd Jordan, which we all know. And the boys BM baseball coach is David Hall. David Hall used to play baseball for us, went to school, went to college, played at Trinity Baptist, came back here like you were doing, giving back. So here he is. So Mr. David Hall, yes, good luck in the upcoming season. So that brings me to weightlifting. Bradford weightlifting, coached by Coach Rob Charles, who was our defensive coordinator, who is now our athletic director, is coaching that. And we've got a guy that's a previous state champion last year. He's looking for 2 in a row. Used to lift over at Union County. He was supposed to play football with us. Some things happened. Wasn't able to play football with us. But watch out for this name. Aglu Nunu is his name. He's a senior. Defending state champ last year. Looking to repeat a state champ this year. Good. And he'll do it under Bradford Tornado colors. So he's the guy to beat. Their next, by the way, they had a meet already at Union County High School, his old high school, and Bradford won that meet. Beat them good, too. Yep, so that was on February the 11th. And then March the 4th, they got a little gap here. On March the 4th, they'll go to Oakleaf High School at 2:30. So that's on March the 4th, 2:30. That meet will be there. So let's see what those guys can do. We have a lot of strong kids over here, especially within the football program. Most of those guys going to weightlifting. So look out for Mr. Nunu trying to get a good old state championship right there. How about that? All right. And a little bit of college baseball news here. We have some final scores here. The Florida State Seminoles beat the Cincinnati Bearcats today 10-5. That makes them 5-1 on the young season. They're ranked 14th in the country. They may move up. And how about the number 1 and 2 teams in the country? You don't think Florida's got some baseball? Miami's ranked number 1 right now, and Florida's ranked 2. Florida beat them last night 4-3 in extra innings. And right now, this is the updated score in the 5th. Maybe
it was in the 5th, okay, but it's probably changed.
Okay, so in the 5th inning, it was 1-1, Miami and Florida. So that's a great series going down there in Coral Gables, Florida, down there at Miami's field. So looking good there for Florida baseball, huh?
You would never hear me say this unless they're playing Miami Go Gators.
Yeah, there you go. In basketball today, Florida is on the cut line on the bubble right there. Needed this victory right here. Kentucky beat them 65-59. Lost by 6 today, the Gators.
And they were up.
They were up by a few points. Yeah, they were. So congratulations, Kentucky, on a comeback. Florida's going to probably have to win the tournament now, Mitchell, right? Probably to get in, or at least 2 or 3.
always had problems with Kentucky.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And Florida State beat North Carolina State 67-61. They keep rolling. Look out for Coach Leonard Hamilton, the head coach of Florida State men's basketball. He's on the Naismith Coach of the Year watch list.
Yep.
So him and 3 others. I think he's down to 3 candidates now. Byron brings up a good point. Coach Hamilton, please go a little further than what you've been going in the tournament.
Please,
Because
Lord.
you've got a heck-acious team right here.
Update, bottom
Okay.
of the 6th,
Uh-huh.
is still 1-1.
Still 1-1. Okay, that's a great ball game going there down in Coral Gables. But getting back to Leonard Hamilton here, we've got to get further than even the Final 8. I think we need to be a Final 4 team, don't you?
It's almost like they become a different team
They
when
do.
they get into the tournament.
They do.
They are in the regular season. It's always been that way. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand it because they've
Right.
had some really good basketball teams.
Right. And I don't get it either. But anyway, do want to talk about one thing as we're talking about college basketball. We are holding a bracket. Hey, an NCAA bracket for both the men and the women. I'll get into some women college basketball on Tuesday, women's softball. I'll get into all that. But we are holding a bracket. You can get a bracket for $10 each. We'll do a men and a women's bracket, Roger. How about that? $10 a piece, and you can get in. The winner is going to get half the pot, and the other half is going to go, what we chose to be is our local food pantry.
Are we eligible for that?
So you can play, sure. $10, hey, we'll get you into a bracket, and hey, that's always a good thing, isn't it? So, yeah, absolutely.
Always.
Michael, we'll have that bracket as soon as we get it right. We'll put it up on our deal there. If you want to play, you can send a check, money order, or if you see one of us, give us your $10. We'll put you on a list, and you can get into this tournament. So again, this is our first fundraiser. I'd like for it to get big. Guys, really, to be honest with you, I'd like to see 200 brackets in here.
That'd be great.
200 brackets times 10 is $2,000. $1,000 will go to the winner, and $1,000 will go to the food pantry. So anyway, what do you have for me, Raj?
Today, number 1 team, Baylor, not lost first game since November 8th.
Yeah, Kansas beat them, right?
Yeah, Kansas beat Baylor at Baylor today.
Yes, they did. I've seen that. So the number 1 team in the country goes down. We'll probably have a new one with Gonzaga if they keep winning, or San Diego State. One of those teams out west will probably be.
You lost that 4.
So
64 to 61.
appreciate that. Thank you. So anyway, we'll update some more of that. But what I want to talk about tonight is what a lot of people's been talking about, and that's that big fight tonight. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, versus Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber. Hey, this is the second time. The first time they fought, they went to a 12-round draw. Give you a record. Deontay Wilder is 42-0-1 with 41 knockouts. That's a 95% knockout rate. It's the highest since Mike Tyson was fighting, and Mike Tyson had an 88% knockout rate. Tyson Fury, 29-0-1, 20 knockouts for him. Little deal about these guys. Deontay Wilder is the WBC heavyweight champion. He's the guy that's got the big belt. Tyson Fury has got what we call the lineal heavyweight. Do you know how that come about, Byron? Do you know what the lineal heavyweight is?
I'm not sure. I haven't
Do you know,
followed
Mitchell?
boxing-
All right, Mike, do
boxing
you know?
in a long time.
Okay, the lineal heavyweight it's a title. You remember when Lennox Lewis was fighting? And you remember, and he was always undefeated. He'd go all around the world to defend the title,
Right.
and he'd always be undefeated. That's what the lineal title's about. So when he took that, and I can't think of the Russian guy's name, he is the self-proclaimed lineal heavyweight champion, and people recognize him as that because he hasn't been beat since then.
Yeah.
But the last time these two guys fought, Deontay Wilder knocked him down, and I thought he was slap out in the 12th round. That dude, Tyson Fury, pops back up, and he knew there was going to be a Tyson Deontay 2 or Wilder Fury 2 fight, and that's what we've got right now.
They beat on each other
Yeah.
in that fight.
And I look for them to go the rounds tonight.
I do too.
It's either going to go the round or somebody's going to get knocked out in
Early.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
And that actually starts at 9 o'clock.
Yes, it does. And there's 2 and 3 other
A
good
minute
fights
ago.
under the undercard. That's the undercards that are starting right now. That fight probably won't happen until 11 o'clock or so.
Yes,
but there's some good undercards there. So the Bronze Bomber is Deontay Wilder. The Gypsy King is Tyson Fury. Let me give you a little stat. Deontay Wilder has the hardest punch ever thrown. And at his rate, 1,416 pounds per square inch. Is that what it is?
Yep, by square inch. Yep.
Oh my God.
Mike Tyson, you remember how hard he used to hit? He was at 1364.
Guy
You
hits
see
harder
the
than Mike Tyson.
hits harder than Mike Tyson. Tyson Fury, listen to this stat, Mike. Tyson Fury, you know how many punches percentage-wise, Byron knows, that they've landed on Tyson Fury? All his opponents?
This is a crazy number.
14% of punches thrown. This guy bobs and weaves for a 6'9" guy that I've ever seen in my life. They'll throw punches like this. He's throwing punches like this, and he's swaying and bobbing, and they can't hit him. That's why these guys get tired, and then because when you're 6'9" and a guy's 6'3", you're not hitting toward the face, and if you're trying to, it's leaving you open, and he's body punching you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he's coming across with that overhand right and knocking you the mess out. But anyway, Wilder's 34 years old, Fury's 31. Deontay is 6'7". I couldn't believe that when I seen him today. And Fury is 6'9". The reach is 83 for Wilder, 85 for Fury. Stance, they're both orthodox fighters. If y'all know what orthodox is, just right-handed, correct, right-handed, correct.
And they use traditional stances.
Yeah. The hometown. Wilder is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Do you know who resides in Tuscaloosa, Alabama? He's just as popular as they are. The Tide. Yeah. Yeah, anyway.
No.
So, and Manchester. And then Manchester, yes. And then Manchester, England is where Tyson Fury's from. When they did the weigh-in this morning, they both came in, right? I'm telling you, dude. I swear, I didn't know who was from the U.S. or not. Tyson Fury, man, just got all this buzz about him and everything. And then Wilder comes in there, and I swear to God, I thought they was booing him. I thought they were booing the guy. I was like, oh my goodness, man, who's from where? So a lot of following is going to be for Tyson Fury tonight. I will get y'all's opinion here in a minute. The best wins for Wilder was Luis Ortiz and Dominic Brazil. And this is the guy I was thinking about. Vladimir Klitschko. Remember him? Klitschko was the one he beat. And that's when he became this lineal champion, world champion. And he hasn't been beat since then. And he's fought a guy named Chisora. And I know Steve Cunningham. He knocked him out too. So that was back in 2013. So odds looks like minus 125 for Mr. Wilder and plus 105 for Fury. This ought to be a great fight. I look for it to go the rounds, as you said, or as Byron says. Somebody's going to probably get knocked out quickly. Real quick, start with you, Roger. Who wins the fight tonight?
All 12 rounds. All 12 rounds.
No, I want to know who wins the fight. I just want to know who wins the fight, Fury or Wilder?
Wilder.
Wilder, okay, the WBC champ.
Oh, Fury in 2 rounds.
Fury in 2 rounds.
Absolutely.
Okay, absolutely. And he says that too. Fury is saying that too.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
David,
I'm going to take Fury.
you're going to take Fury?
Yeah.
And are you going to go, you think he's going to go all the way, or do you think he's going to?
That's hard to say, man.
Okay,
I
just
mean,
think.
they're both, they're tied up pretty good.
Yeah,
so.
these.
It's
Yeah.
just, I'm curious on how long was his last fight?
The last was when they fought. And that was that 12-round decision. It was a draw.
And that's
So,
the last.
That's the last fights that they fought.
Both of them had.
And when was that?
That was last year.
Last year.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so they're both. About a
Yeah.
year.
Mm-hmm.
I
Fury, you say he's going to win.
say Fury.
Mitchell?
It's a draw.
You think it's going to be a draw again?
Yeah.
Wow, if that's a draw again, wow. So you like it as a draw? Byron?
I think I'll take the guy that hits harder than Mike.
Deontay Wilder. I'm going to take Deontay Wilder too. I think it's going to go a little bit longer than what Michael thinks. I like Wilder on the other side. This is going to be a great fight.
I like the hard hitting guy.
I do too. I like the guy
that moves fast
and don't get hit.
Yeah.
And for 6'9" to do that, that is so awesome. So, yeah.
Somebody hits you that hard in the middle of the chest and hits you in the right place, you can knock you out too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They don't have to hit the guy in the head to do that.
They showed a little bit of that last fight they did, and
Yeah.
it was impressive.
It was impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Both these
Them boys
fighters
are
are impressive.
Bam,
And
bam,
they've been
bam.
going at each other too. There's
Yeah.
some jawing and some things going on.
You know what that actually reminded me a little bit of? It reminded me a little bit of those fights between Ali
And Frazier.
and Frazier.
Yeah, they
Ali-
compared it.
or
Ali and Foreman.
Foreman.
And
is really
Foreman.
who I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, he sort of Fury reminds me, but not as big. Remember a guy named Ernie Shavers? Remember Ernie?
I do remember Ernie Shavers.
Ernie could hit you. Ernie just couldn't move.
He's got the biggest
Hands, yeah, they're so big. And it reminds me of that. But this ought to be a great fight tonight. I'd like to see who our audience thinks is going to.
Fury and
maybe
5,
this-
Archie Waters says.
Oh, Fury and 5, he says. Okay. Hey, all right. Well,
I think they
so.
go to a draw.
So I go with the Manchester guy, he says. He's going with Fury as well. A lot of people going with Fury. So we'll see. He's a great fiiter, man. Both of them are great fighters. I just
Sorry.
got to go with the guy that hits hardest, too.
You see what Mike Tyson did. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. The tail of the
it's not
tape is
strong
close.
too much on record, by
The
the way.
tail of the tape is really close.
Yeah.
I mean, this is about as close as numbers as you can get. Ought to be a great fight. I just hope
Anthony
the people that
Black's
pay for
saying
this,
Fury.
I hope they get a good fight. If Mike's prediction comes true, people's going to be torqued off about it, a pay-per-view. Yeah, and Fury says 2 rounds. He says, I'm going to knock him in 2 rounds, is what he said. So,
And
he may.
see, that's the thing about a fight with somebody that has that knockout
They're
power.
not happy.
yeah.
You don't have to hit somebody in the
Nope.
head.
Nope.
Kidney punches are awful mighty effective, and so are liver punches.
Who was that
Yeah.
one fight? Mayweather.
And they're legal in
and
boxing. Nobody ever
Pacquiao.
Pacquiao.
This is as big as this in
That
in the
they
box.
really blew that up, and I tell you, that really turned out to be a
It
joke.
wasn't a good
Yes,
fight.
it did. Yes, it did. The Gator, I'm going to go on here real quick because I know we're getting ready to close the show out. Gator Gymnastic Championship, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, those women are
Sewed it up
bad
last
tail.
night.
They sewed it up, didn't they? So they're the SEC champs?
Yes.
Okay, now it comes to the regionals, right, and stuff.
Right.
Regional, and then for the actual NCAA title.
Right.
Those girls are bad tail. I've seen a couple of those girls.
No.
I don't even want to go no more than that. They are easy. They're awesome athletes.
Awesome.
They're awesome athletes, and I give them credit for what they do for sure. And we've got some racing news.
stuff.
Go ahead and give it to us, Mitch.
First, the Xfinity was red flagged earlier. I was trying to look and see if they went back racing, but it was red flagged at 50 laps, and it's a 200 lap race. That's also out in Vegas. And then rain canceled qualifying out for a regular Cup Series.
Yep.
So the field will be set with points. So your pole sitter is going to be Danny Hamlin.
Yes.
So and then not just rain affecting the races in Las Vegas, but they're also affecting the races in Phoenix for the NHRA drag races there at Wild Horses Motorsports Park. I have to correct myself because I'm used to it being Firebird Raceway back in the day. But rain settled in, and it had they had stopped in their 3rd qualifying round.
Yep.
So the results just, first and second, I'm going to go through the whole
Okay.
field.
All right.
But Brittany Force is so far the number 1 top fuel car. I want to listen how close this field is between 1 and 2. She is at 3.67 seconds at 327.11 miles an hour.
Gee, Manetti.
Steve Torrance is number 2 right behind her with a 3.671.
Oh,
Gee, Manetti.
So we're talking about a 16th
Eighth of a
an
second,
inch.
or a second,
Oh,
an
yeah.
inch,
Of
or
an
whatever.
inch
Yeah,
at the stripe.
yeah.
Then Matt Hagan is your number 1 qualifier as it sits with a 385 with a 9 at 331.61 miles per hour. John Force is right behind him with a 3.86 with a 1. And pro stock teammates. Jack Coughlin
Mm-hmm.
so far has the pole if they don't go back with a 6.536 at 208.46 miles per hour. And his teammate and my son's favorite driver, Erica Anders, is right behind him with a 6.565 at 209.82 miles per hour. And speaking of the NHRA, let everybody remind them that the Gator Nationals will start Thursday, March the 12th.
Yep.
And usually Thursday is for your sportsman racers,
Mhm.
super stock, alcohol dragsters, alcohol funny cars. It's still great to go see.
Yeah.
I don't know the prices of those tickets on Thursday, but I tell you, they're getting up there a little year after year. They keep
Yeah.
on going up.
It's getting more popular.
I just caught a great deal on getting some tickets about a week ago. But that will run on through to Sunday, March the 15th. We got a gentleman that will be making his debut there in the Nitro Top Fuel car is Josh Hart. He owns a business down in Ocala, Bernie's Speed Shop.
Mm-hmm.
He has been running alcohol for quite some time now. He's won the U.S. Nationals twice back to back and a few other races. So he's taken that transition, and he's actually going to be running both his alcohol car and the nitro car at the Gator Nationals.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
that is
That's some
pretty
yeah,
hard
good
to do
do.
to try to be in 2 places at one time. But he's a great guy. Him and his wife, real good people. And you know he's a Florida boy, so
Yes,
we
he is.
want to support
Support
him.
him.
so when are those Gator Nationals again?
Starts Thursday, March the 12th through Sunday, March the 15th. And I'm telling you, if you've never been before, you need to go experience one time to see if you like it. And the best day to do that will be on Friday. That's the cheapest ticket that you can get for pro qualifying. They'll get 2 qualifying runs on Friday and 2 on Saturday, and they will go in eliminations on Sunday. And just throw it out there. You say, well, I don't want to go Sunday because I got to go to church.
Right.
Get there early enough. You can go to the chaplain service.
Yes, you can.
It's open for all the fans and all the drivers. I plan on being there. And you actually get to sit around with the drivers during that. So it's a really good thing. Those drivers are down to earth.
Yes, they are.
They take up a lot of time with their fans. I know they take up a lot of time with the kids because the kids are the future.
Yep.
It doesn't matter at what, and we want to keep racing alive. As you can see when you start looking at stands, even in NASCAR, as well as NHRA, the fans are starting to get a little older, and we want the sport to grow.
Right.
And with our ET series races that we do,
Right.
We've got several young kids that come out there and race, and they're opening up something that will start late March. It's junior drag racing. Your child will have to be at least, I think, 13 years of age. They can run a car. The parent will have to sit in the passenger seat with them, and it's just trying to get them used to the fundamentals of drag racing. And they will name a champion at the end of the year for that junior drag racing.
Like it.
And then we got also the junior dragsters for kids to start out. They can actually start out as young as 5. They can't run a competition at 5 years old, but they can start getting familiar and make single passes down the track. And by the time they turn 6 years old, they can start running eliminations. These cars run. They go by. They put restrictor plates in them because they can only run certain speeds and ETs for ages. But when you start getting up into the older kids, 16 years of age, 17 years of age, their junior dragsters are running over 80-something miles an hour through the 8th mile. And that's almost as quick, if not quicker, than some of the other cars
yeah.
that actually race out there.
Race out there.
And I'm telling you, it's really neat to see those kids climb in there. While we're talking about racing, I want to congratulate my nephew Brody. He went down to New Smyrna. They kicked off their new racing season down there, and he swept it. 4 wins.
Wow.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Brody.
So,
Runs in your family, huh?
well, he likes the round around stuff. I like the straight line stuff. So.
Well, we'd like to bring him back on the show one day.
Oh, definitely,
Let him talk about that. He was a great guest the last time he was here. I was very impressed with the young man.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable, very got great parents, got a great uncle right here. So we look forward to having Brody back on the show. Just want to get into something. Anthony Black listening in from Tallahassee, the home of the Seminoles, by the way. He said he wanted me to talk about the Red Hills Horse Show Olympic qualifiers, and it's an equestrian event that's going to be happening in Tallahassee. It's off of Miller's Landing Road, March the 6th through the 8th. They'll be running those races and doing those trials. And I guess the winners, the top 3, I guess will get to go to the Olympics. Right. So, and that's for the equestrian. And that is the Red Hills Horse Show Olympic qualifier in Tallahassee, Florida on Miller's Landing Road, March the 6th through March the 8th. You're going to have all kinds of riders from all over the world, all over the United States anyway, coming there to Tallahassee to compete in that. So I do want to talk about this emblem around my neck here. Roger the Tornado Cruz, one of our very own, ran in that run yesterday. And Roger, you ran it 32 minutes and what was it?
32.7.
32 minutes and 7 seconds or 0.7?
32.7.
32.7. Yeah, I guess that's 30.
The lady beat me. The lady who beat me, he had 2 divisions, right?
Right.
You know how time is?
What?
30.1.
So she beat you just by about a second and a half or so, huh?
I behind her. I caught in 32.7. I finished.
You finished 7th or 8th, right?
Yes.
He finished 7th or 8th. So congratulations to Roger Cruz on his medal here as well. On behalf, that's all I've got tonight, guys. I just didn't want to update you on the coronavirus here. Our very own Michael Heater, as of today, officials report that the use of Lopinar, right, and Ridavar has been ineffective. There are no drugs or vaccines shown to work so far for the coronavirus. As well, first of all, before we do that, just want to go around the table really quick. Final thoughts, Roger. Final thoughts, real quick. You got anything?
Yeah.
Go Gators.
Thanks to the sheriff office, let us host the show. It's
great.
today now and Thursday now.
On for Saturday night.
Saturday, yeah.
Okay, Michael.
No, good. Great show. Great
Good.
show.
Okay, David.
If you go to Gator Nationals, I just want to say, take some ear protection. It's loud.
And
There you go.
sunscreen.
And
And
sunscreen.
yes. Mr. Mitchell.
I just want to try to continue on helping our community in any way I can. I know my plate's pretty full for the next couple of months.
Right.
I know that other person wanted me to kind of do a
Yeah.
car show there too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get in contact with her soon. It's just been really, really tough. And again, thank you, Murray Automotive Group, for stepping in and being our award sponsor for that. Really do appreciate it. Amy Hoglin, thank you.
Byron,
The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Vote.
think about that.
Look at the candidates that are out there, whether they're Democrat or Republican candidates, and vote.
2 things for me, just real quick. If you can help anybody out, please help somebody out that's in need. Somebody that, it doesn't matter who it may be. You may think it's the smallest thing, but it may be a big thing for them. Please extend yourself. We always talk about paying it forward or paying it back. Pay it forward. Help somebody out that's in need. Don't turn your back. Hey, you never know what you may do for this person. It could be just talking to them. It could be giving them $4. It could, whatever it may be.
How about a smack
So-
upside the back of the head?
Sometimes that works too.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And sometimes you wake somebody up. And the second thing is that I want to talk about, somebody asked me, 2 people, why don't we talk about the American Party anymore? The American Party's alive and well. We talk about, if you're on our American Party list, we always talk on there. The American Party's alive and well. We're all part of the American Party. Byron, maybe we can get into that on one of our discussions about the American Party. That's a party we created right here, and that's where we put America first. You know, Donald Trump says, let's make America great again. To make America great again, you got to put America first. And I think he's trying to do all that in one time. That's what the American Party is all about. Yes, we are the American Party. So are you guys. No doubt about it. We'll get into that later on. On behalf of Mr. Roger the Tornado Cruz, Mr. Michael Heater, Mr. Dave Holland, Mr. Byron Bagwell,
Good night, guys.
Mr. Mitchell Gunner,
Have a
and
good
myself.
weekend.
My name is David Rodgers, your host here on the spot. Good night, everyone. God bless you guys, and we'll see you Tuesday night. Thank you guys very much for joining in. Good night.
Good night.
A lot of people put Florida in there.